huge number of well-known people disgraced themselves during the 2 years of the Russian collusion hoax, but two of them stand above the rest: former CIA Chief John Brennan and former FBI Director Jim Comey. We expect lawmakers to grandstand on flimsy pretexts. That's what they do for a living. We don't expect much of anything from the news media. They're toadies and buffoons. But our most powerful bureaucrats are supposed to be, they need to be impressive. They have a lot of control over this country and the people who live here. We need them to be fair and smart and level-headed. John Brennan has shown himself to be none of those things. During his years serving Barack Obama, Brennan was known mostly for lying. Under Trump, he's become a full-blown, wild-eyed conspiracy nut.
He is feeding and fueling hatred and animosity and misunderstandings among Americans. I use the term that this is nothing short of treasonous because it is a betrayal of the nation. He is giving aid and comfort to the enemy. Treasonous is defined as a betrayal of trust as well as aiding and abetting the enemy. And so that was the word that came to my mind.
Jim Comey, meanwhile, is smarter than John Brennan, not that that's hard, but he's a political partisan, something that no FBI director should ever be. At times, his judgment has been bizarre. Watch him, for example, suggest that the most lurid portions of the obviously fake Steele dossier might in fact be real.
Honestly, never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I don't know whether the current president of the United States was with prostitutes peeing on each other in Moscow in 2013. It's possible, but I don't know.
These people are a joke. Those are the two most powerful unelected bureaucrats in Barack Obama's government, and you would not hire them to run a CVS. They're idiots. They're self-aggrandizing narcissists who believed an absurd story about a pee tape that ran on some cat blog, and they're not alone. Congressman Adam Schiff is still rambling on like a mental patient about Russian conspiracy.
From the public, you might think it's okay that their only disappointment after that meeting was that the dirt they received on Hillary Clinton wasn't better. You might think that's okay. I think it's immoral. I think it's unethical. I think it's unpatriotic. And yes, I think it's corrupt and evidence of collusion.
Immoral, unethical, unpatriotic. People didn't used to talk like that, particularly those who are already all three. But it's not just Adam Schiff. The rest of his party is already joining the new conspiracy theory, and it's this. Bill Barr, the Attorney General, may look like a decent guy, in fact, a living stereotype of the traditional moderate Republican, but looks deceived. In fact, Barr is an enemy operative, a Putin stooge working secretly for Mother Russia. He cannot be trusted.
For Mr. Barr to quickly issue a 4-page report in his attempt to try and exonerate President Trump has too much of the odor of political expediency to help the man who appointed him, President Trump.
So if Chuck Schumer says it, you can be sure the entire herd of brainless Democratic presidential candidates say it too.
I'm deeply troubled by Barr himself. One of the reasons I voted against him. I mean, he should have recused himself, in my opinion. So I have a lot of problems with Barr.
Do you trust Barr's judgment on obstruction here?
No. I think what the Attorney General did is undermine the purpose of the special counsel's job. And I think Speaker Pelosi is quite right when she says it was not only arrogant, but very disrespectful.
You know, it's really hard to overstate how dumb this is. We're searching for the words. We know a lot about Bill Barr. He's been in the public eye for 40 years. He was the Attorney General under George H.W. Bush. He gave money to Jeb Bush's 2016 campaign. In fact, it's hard to imagine that Barr even voted for Donald Trump. Not his kind of guy. And yet now, for some reason, Bill Barr has developed such a deep loyalty to Donald Trump that he's willing to destroy his own reputation, subvert American government, and commit crimes. Why? In order to help Donald Trump, his new love, hide his criminal Russian collusion. That's what they're telling you. It's ridiculous. It's insane. But they tell you a lot of things like that. With remarkable frequency, the people who are supposed to be the most impressive in our society fall for hoaxes that no normal person would ever believe. Jussie Smollett's transparently bogus hate crime. A dozen more just like it in the past 2 years. The fake Duke rape case, the even faker UVA fraternity rapes, the Covington High School kids, They hated American Indians. Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. The fraudulent FDA food pyramid that helped make America fatter and less healthy. Eat more breakfast cereal. That'll slim you down. They bought all of this and much more without even pausing. When creepy porn lawyer told them that Brett Kavanaugh was a sex criminal, they believed him. Then they told us that creepy porn lawyer would make a good president. These are the people who brag about how much they revere science. We're the party of science. And at the same time insist that you can change your biological sex by wishing it so. 40 years ago, these same people warned us a new ice age was coming. Now they shriek about global warming. They will literally believe anything. On the left, the Enlightenment is over. Superstition reigns in its place. This is what happens when conventional religion, the ones we all mock, die. People who say, oh, I'm secular, just find something even more implausible to believe in and impose on the rest of us, but with way less self-awareness, and therefore far more dangerously.
President Trump calling to investigate Obama-era officials for their role in launching the Russia collusion probe.
Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky tweeted out last night this shocking claim, breaking: a high-level source tells me it was John Brennan who insisted that the unverified and fake Steele dossier be included in the intel report. Brennan should be asked to testify under oath in front of Congress as soon as possible.
Senator Rand Paul joins us now to explain. Senator Paul, what more can you tell us about the lead you got?
Well, my source tells me that the intelligence community, Obama's intelligence community, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, they were frustrated because they had this Russian dossier, but nobody believed it was real. It wasn't verifiable. They couldn't get anything of it. So they sent spies into the Trump campaign. They tried to entrap Trump officials to admit they were working with Russia. That wasn't working. And so they were frustrated, but they wanted to somehow get this information out, this Russian dossier, that even the media wasn't publishing. Nobody would publish it because it was so scandalous, unverifiable, and likely fiction. So finally they decided, well, what we have to do is attach this dossier, this fake dossier, to an intelligence report. So the president receives these intelligence reports, and they're given directly to the president. Well, what they do is they staple to the report the Russian dossier. So now Obama's officially seeing it, and then also it's given to Trump at this point. But realize that this is a big circle. They'd had the dossier for months and months. So when John McCain is given the dossier, it's given to him by people who may have leaked it from our government to John McCain, so John McCain can give it back to the FBI. I mean, it's a crazy circle, all trying to justify something that wasn't true, but extraordinary power of these people and extraordinary corruption. And they almost brought, they tried to bring down a sitting president. This shouldn't happen to anybody. And when President Trump spoke to us this week, he said he doesn't want it to happen to any future presidents, Republican or Democrat, that the intelligence agencies use all of their power of surveillance to actually try to bring down a sitting president.
Yeah, you say that Brennan, Clapper, and Comey were all frustrated. What's frustrating is they use this dossier, this unverified, salacious dossier, very scandalous, as you say, to try to take down the president. You tweeted out you have a high-level source. I doubt you're going to tell us who the source is, but I have to ask, who's the source? And if you're not going to tell me the name, how trustworthy is this person?
I think it comes from someone who has a great deal of information about what's been going on. Not everybody, nobody knows the complete picture yet. And that's why I'm in favor of, the president has now said that he's going to declassify some of these documents. See, I believe that the dossier, had been held by the FBI for several months. Brennan starts his little group to investigate it. I believe at that time they did talk to President Obama about it, and I think they should all be asked, when did President Obama learn about this and what was his recommendation? He's in charge of the government. Did he recommend that you try to spread the dossier throughout the government? Remember those reports right around the time of the election, right after Trump won, They were saying that Obama officials were spreading this information throughout government. They were spreading the dossier and they couldn't gain traction, so then they released it to people outside government, reporters who would write a story, and then they would say to the FISA judge, look, there's a story being written about this dossier, it must be true.
It's Exhibit A. Well, it'll be interesting when you're able to call Mr. Brennan in front of Congress. That's going to be great. A member of Congress got the attention of the president this morning in a tweet. I want to read it to you, Senator. Congressman Adam Schiff, the president writes, who spent 2 years knowingly and unlawfully leaking and lying, should be forced to resign from Congress. What do you think about that?
Pretty strong words. I think we should see the evidence. I think if you're on the intelligence committees or any committees that handle sensitive material, leaking that to the media is a crime and ought to be a crime. And we have certain rules for congressmen, so you can say things in public on the floor in the spirit of debate. You can't be censored for that. But if you're from a committee hearing a classified hearing and then you're talking to a reporter about it, that is a real problem. It's one reason why whenever I go to a classified hearing, I don't stop and talk to the media immediately, because I want to make sure that I've collected my thoughts and that I don't reveal anything that came from the classified hearing.
But it does happen a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it comes all throughout government. That's a sad thing. It comes from the Pentagon. It comes from the Department of State.
Yeah.
I talk to ambassadors, our ambassadors overseas, and some of them are afraid to talk to me on official lines because they're being listened to by other members of our government.
Yeah, and by the way, the Democrats are not buying the summary. They still think the president colluded just about to a person. They just can't get enough of this story.
Yeah, and I think what's going to happen, and what I'm telling people is I'm okay with the Mueller report coming out more completely, but in addition, we need to have information on Obama, White House officials, Comey, Brennan, Clapper. That should be part of it, because the report is the conclusion, but the beginning is why did we get to the report in the beginning, and did someone misuse their office? So if Democrats want the complete Mueller report, I'm going to object until we get a complete report of all the Obama-era officials that got this thing started.
Okay. You're not alone. A lot of Americans feel that same way. Thanks so much, Senator, for being with us.
Thank you.